So male dolphins have been known to masturbate by having an eel wrapped around their penis. I don't know which one is worse to think of. The fact that if that eel can get pissed off, it can be, properly electrifying feeling for the dolphin, or the fact that ocean and seawater is just not going to be looked at the same way by me and just about anyone else who's visualized this. So, let's start this podcast. Welcome to Break Time on West Side, your number one break time podcast show with me, Sir Denver B. This is Battle of the Sexes. We've reached 5 episodes. So yeah, we've survived a lot, to be honest. Now, following a previous study that came out not too long ago, showed that a lot of these women have been giving us foodie calls. And yes, it's actually a thing. Booty calls were a thing. Now there's foodie calls. Essentially, they just call you. You guys go to a restaurant, you eat, the nigga pays, or, she comes over to your place. You end up paying for the groceries one way or another, and nothing happens. Has actually been on the rise. That's actually one of the bigger reasons as to why women go on dates nowadays. So it kind of made me question a lot in my life, because not too long ago, trying to hit up some shorty, trying to get a bit of booty here and there. And, she comes and she's like, oh, okay, so will you take me to eat first? Blah, blah, blah. Like, will you have food at home and shit? I'm just trying to get the smash here. So at some point, she says, but at least feed me first. In my head, I was like, first, why the hell am I feeding you? Like, I'm the one that's probably going to end up doing most of the work. I'm not saying that easy, but I'm probably going to end up doing most of the work. So I kind of decided to think back and look at how this whole feed me first situation came up. Back in the olden days, when you look at the people that were into cannibalism, the people who pretty much were roasting meat, like back in the old cultural days, like traditional days, you'd find that an animal, before it's slaughtered, is, properly fed and fattened. So they'd go, they'd feed it. It would become big and, nice and good looking. Then it would get slaughtered and eaten. It's something that's happened for animals. And for cannibals, that's something that they would do to human beings, so that they would end up eating a very nice, healthy, and sometimes fat human being. Now, it kind of does make sense when you think about it from that perspective. But here's the thing. When I'm about to smash, I don't see why it is I need to feed you. You're properly ready to work. And here's the thing. I'm not much of a fat person. No pun intended. Nothing against fat people. But, there's no fattening that I need to do. The fattening that I do is usually done in the form of, marination via text, flirting. We probably go spend some time together, start getting like super tight and, all nice and touchy and intimate. That's sex's level of, fattening before you eat. So that's the only time when I can probably say, you know what, fine, let's make sure, I've made sure I've done the work so that by the time this is happening, I will enjoy it to the ultimate. I will get it to the max and make sure I enjoy my full, likings worth. But I kind of get it back in those days. I don't get why it's happening now. Nowadays, this is fucking 2019. Like, let's be honest about one thing. If you want to do it or not, there's people for that. Like, people nowadays are a lot more open. People don't hide the fact that they're horny. People do not hide the fact that they want to get some loving from someone else. And whether it's casual, whether it's, like a full-on relationship, whether it's a situationship, friends with benefits, it's stuff that's well known. So I don't see why the hell you all need to start bringing the whole feed me first type situation. So at some point I get to this stage and I'm like, you know what? Why shouldn't the guys be the one being fed first? Now, it kind of takes me to this level where I kind of have to start debating why, this whole feed me first is a lie. Women barely do shit in bed. You will blame the man for having a tiny package. You will claim that he has a kijulu bang. If you're from Kenya, you know what that is. It's pretty much a mini dick. If you're from somewhere else around the world, just say it like it is, a dick too small. They will blame that, the guy didn't last long, of which, if you listen to Fan Favorite Section episode 4, you'll know why not lasting long isn't a bad thing. And you guys will start blaming a lot of other things, because usually at the end of it, if the experience isn't good, it'll always be blamed on the guy. But thinking about it now, I'm like, considering that I'll probably end up doing the most work, why the hell are you being fed? Why the hell are you being fattened? Like, us niggas, we pretty much expend ourselves. Like, we use energy. Because since y'all don't want some 2-minute job, some 5-minute job, some of y'all want like half an hour to 3 hours or some shit. Y'all will want all of that and you'll barely put the work in. Most times you're lying down or you're just in one position staying still. And this guy will pretty much be the one moving you while he's moving himself, expending precious energy. And this is energy he could have used to build the nation. Try and offload China's debt from Kenya. Stuff like that. But you think that you need to be fed first so that you can be laid on the bed and you can have your energy taken out because he's doing all the work. Which, let's be honest, that's BS. I don't think I need to feed you. Yes, I honestly do not. I feel like you even need to be the one feeding me. I'm about to put some loving in you. Considering that according to science, women feel way more than men when it comes to pleasure from sex, I do not see why you need to be fed. That is absolute bullshit. So if you or your people or your mother or your father told you that you have to be fed first before it's given to you as a lady, by the way, take that information and shove it right back up where it came from. Because it's not true. I honestly don't think that you all need to be fed for this. The guy needs to be fed. The nigger needs to be fed. And I think this whole marination thing is even a lie. The guys need to be the ones getting hit on. Because they do all the important work when it comes to the bedroom. And as much as it seems like I have something against women, I don't have anything against women. I know some of you actually put the work in. Some of you actually go and work for your pleasure as well. Which is something that I heavily appreciate. Most people don't, but I honestly appreciate it. If a woman wants to take over and do a good chunk of the work, I will never refuse. Like, that's something that we have wanted. Just the same way we will never refuse if a woman wants to come and hit on us. Except some of these people with toxic masculinity. Yeah, the ones with toxic masculinity will be the ones who are like, no, I have to do some work. Fuck you, by the way. Screw you. I will not take your piece of toxic masculinity and work with it as if I don't want some time to rest. We get rejected all the time. I am not ready for more rejection. If there's a way that I can reduce it by 1, by 2, by as much as possible, I will take it. So whoever it is that says, I don't want to be approached, I want to make sure I do the work, I want to feed her, I want to take her out on dates and pay the bill, take your toxic masculinity right out the door and feed it to someone who cares. For most of us niggas, we like that treatment because women have fought for equality in every way, shape, and form. So they might as well start paying the bill sometimes. They might as well be the ones proposing, even though that's like the one thing that I can say, let that one just be for niggas. And also let them be the ones to feed us before they take us to bed. And yes, it should be reversed. These guys been doing the work for a minute. This guy, when he's missionary, a lot of times he's the one on top. If it's doggy, he's the one at the back doing the work. And if he's tired, there's very little that this woman will do. She'll get on top, stroke 1, stroke 2, stroke 3, stroke 4. Engine light goes on, check tires, blah, 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 It becomes this whole issue of, I'm tired, I'm unfit. And I don't know, nowadays being unfit is an excuse for everything though. Apparently now they can't perform because they're unfit. We know people who are more unfit than you that can actually do the job. And I'm saying this directly to a few women that like to say that. There's some unfit people that will put the work in because they know the kind of pleasure that they're deriving from it. Because this is more results oriented. And I think at some point I will start discussing, this whole thing about, making sure she gets off first or he gets off first. I think it should start being a bit more personal. People should start working for their pleasure. Like nigga goes, gets his work in. Shorty goes, gets her work in. We all leave very happy people. But that's not the topic right now. What I'm trying to say is, these niggas should be the ones being fed. You can't feed us well. You give us like 30 minutes to let, the food settle in. After that, Pound Central will hit you. This guy will give you everything and then some. He will satisfy you till you get tired. Even though you're just lying down over there. If you feed a nigga, there's nothing that will prevent him from, like giving it to you properly unless he's in a relationship with someone else or you're not his type. Of which, if you're not his type, by the way, just pray that he gets into a dry spell and then you'll become his type. With guys, it usually just boils down to what's available when. Because eventually at some point, she may not look good right now, but she'll look good later. That's a guarantee. That is a proper damn guarantee. It's one of those guarantees that I can promise you guys for years. It's a thing. Especially the dry spells. Niggas usually just get to a point where like the desperation makes some people start looking a bit more attractive. Even though there's no features that this guy sees in you, at some point they will start showing. No matter how tiny, they will be recognized. Because men are visual creatures and men like to recognize some of these things. But yeah, bottom line is, feed this guy, make sure he gets his proper fill, and he will do the work better than if you were busy asking him to feed you. Because that's where all that energy is supposed to be pumped through. Anyways, speaking of energy, you need to get back to that work, back to that traffic. If you guys want to holler at me, give me your feedback. It is at breaktime_westside on IG. I will see you guys next time. Always put the process in that progress or be the prevention. It's been me, Sir Denver B. Peace out.